My name is Neil Patel, and I help companies generate more revenue through digital marketing. Entrepreneur Magazine said I was the #1 marketer in the world, and they also said I created one of the 100 most brilliant companies. I started my first website at the age of 16. I took all the money that I earned from working at an amusement park, and I paid a marketing firm. The marketing firm provided no results, and I quickly learned that I wasn't alone. Out of my frustration and from being broke, I had no choice but to learn marketing. My first client was a power supply manufacturer. I helped them generate another $25 million in sales, and from that point, I realized the power of marketing. I helped everyone that I could, and I built my reputation by being honest and over-delivering. I've helped companies like Google, NBC, Viacom, General Motors, eBay, but nothing's more satisfying than helping small business owners succeed. I founded 4 multi-million-dollar companies, and I've learned all the mistakes that you should avoid. I've written about them on Forbes, Entrepreneur, Inc., Fast Company, and even on my own blogs. It's so awesome to know that colleges from all around the world are teaching my material in their classroom. Over the years, I've received awards from the President of the United States, the House of Representatives, and the United Nations. People believe marketing is expensive and difficult. Fortunately, that's not true. There is a formula. Even if you don't have a technical bone in your body, you can get results. And my mission is to share this formula with you. Hey everyone, I'm Neil Patel. Thank you for joining us today for the webinar on AI. And I know a lot of you guys are already using AI. It's marketing is one of the sectors that has really adopted it, but we're seeing a lot of companies use it wrong. And the reason we say that is most companies are not seeing traffic growth or revenue growth. So let's dive right in and go over the material. My name is Neil Patel, as I mentioned. I'm the co-founder of NP Digital. I have the privilege of having Jim from our team as well as Senthil. Jim, do you want to give a quick introduction on yourself, and then Senthil, you can do the same after?
Yeah, hey everyone. As Neil said, my name is Jim Iorio. I'm a senior writer with the NPD US team. So we are getting some firsthand experience using AI in our content flow and day in and day out. So I'm happy to share my experiences and expertise and enlighten you guys on how to boost your marketing efforts with it.
Hey everyone, my name is Sendil. I'm the Vice President of Marketing at NP Digital India. I'm taking care of the marketing strategy and execution. It's a pleasure to be here along co-presenting with my guru, Neil himself. Yeah, really excited to be here. Shout out in the comments with wishes for me. Thank you so much.
Cool. So when you're looking at, AI, you got to think about what are companies really doing. And we're lucky enough to see it all across the board. We work with a lot of clients over a lot of different countries, and we're seeing some unique strategies that are working well. We're seeing a lot of things that are causing people to waste time. So today, when we are breaking down some ways to get more traffic and generate more revenue from AI, it's not stuff that hasn't been battle tested before. This stuff has already been working for a lot of our clients, so just keep that in mind as we go throughout the webinar. So, as I mentioned, a lot of people are using AI wrong. Only 10% of companies are actively using large language models, and companies are using generative AI in only 7% of their marketing activities. And 91% of marketers are using AI in their jobs, but many are just focusing on the wrong areas. If you're using AI and you're like, oh, this is cool, look at this work, look at this output. But at the end of the day, if you can't generate more traffic or revenue because you're in marketing, then what are you really doing? And you're able to do much more work throughout the day. That's great. But at the end of the day, you really got to think about the main KPIs. And it's considered the most valuable MarTech investment in 2024, with content, data, and analytics being at the top. And then from there, you have other sectors such as, systems and processes. But what we really see as the issue is too many companies are using it for the sexy and not the ugly. And a lot of the money's in the ugly. For example, data and analytics, if you look at how much money is wasted on ad spend on a daily or even annual basis, it's a ridiculous amount. Different sources say different things. Some sources say 60 billion a year, some say over 100 billion a year, some say 80. Overall, we know it's a big number. If data and analytics was used to analyze your data in real time and tell you what's wrong and what you need to fix, that can provide quite a bit of insights and save you more money. That's an example of a good use of AI. When you also look at the adoption, it's more than doubled since 2023. But even with this crazy adoption and growth, we're still seeing the same issue in which majority of companies are not seeing increases in traffic or revenue. The most common use case that we see AI for is really when it comes to content. The second is personalization, and the third is sales lead identification and prioritization. And this is from McKinsey. And the reason I wanted to show this is because on the next slide, you'll see this interesting chart here. You can use AI for content, and majority of marketers are. When we did our survey, you see that on the left side. Around 12-ish% of marketers are writing content purely through human. The rest are using AI or AI combo with humans. We did an interesting study, and it doesn't mean you can't use AI for content. It's just that most marketers are using it wrong. We took 68 websites, created 744 articles, half AI, half human written. The AI one still had human modification because it's not always perfect. And then you gotta, use humans to upload the content to CMS and publish it. But after a 5-month period, the human written content had roughly 5.44x more traffic. That's a big difference. And then when we started looking at the traffic per minute spent, right? Because AI can crank out content faster. Human content was still generating more visitors per minute spent versus AI. And keep in mind, if you just put a lot of junk content on your site and you want to now have 100,000 articles, it can cause tons of issues in the past, or it can cause tons of issues in the future, not the past, because then the search engines and the algorithms will look at your site as, hey, you got 10,000 pages, 50 of them are good or 500 of them are good, but the rest of them are junk. And what's going to end up happening is your whole site will rank terribly, even those 500 pages that are good.
Yeah, I'll take it over, Neil. Yeah, so to begin with, the way AI is being used, especially in marketing and sales, what we have seen, especially from McKinsey's report, is that especially marketing and sales department have seen their revenue to be grown twice, and to be the industry leader, that's quite important. Now, one of the core areas where we think MarTech stack is going to become smart, in fact, that's the first question that you should start off with, is the core differentiation between what is there from the traditional software. Where the traditional software, it's just a set of instructions that is following a list, and it may do a bit of a data dive, but based on the preset instructions, it may report back with the expected results, and it does involve manual effort to identify the patterns from the data. However, where the differentiation starts from using AI driven software is that when the data is going to be trained in a model where it also tries to predict an upcoming event or an upcoming pattern surrounding the data that it has learned, and that is where the smartness and the proactiveness comes into the picture. And this proactiveness is something which also could be used for automation of some of the processes, and that is where the AI driven is becoming a craze these days. Now, a bit of a quick check on where we were about a decade ago, where the existing software were being used for the data analytics, and mostly built through the programs. But where we proceeded towards, especially in the last 2 years, is the aggressive usage of LLMs, where more and more data has been trained by these LLMs, and more use cases have got created. What it took 10 years, in just few months, a lot of advance have been made through LLMs. Now, from here, where do we go next is putting these LLMs into action. And that is where the AI agents come into the picture. And this has got significant traction in the last 1 year. And before we understand about how these agents work, we need to do some brush up on the basics on how the LLMs work. So the LLMs like the GPT-4, Claude, Gemini, they are just getting trained through the various data points, like they are either structured or unstructured data, text, voice, image. Now, based on all these learnings, they get trained and they get adapted towards various information, like the information extraction, object recognition, instruction following is one of the key aspect based on which the next level of AI agent becomes crucial. Where the AI agents, the way they function is, once we give it a specific objective, it does have access to the tools, it has access to a memory based on which it can plan certain actions, get a feedback, think about what worked, what didn't work, and then based on that, it can do certain actions based on what is right for what it is being built for. Now, this is where it becomes very crucial, especially for the marketing sales department. Again, it's not just about these two. It's like literally anyone who's using the traditional methods can definitely put AI into best use. And we are only at the beginning right now. In fact, 2023 to 2028, they're going to see a massive growth in these autonomous agents. In fact, a lot of industries have started using it, especially in the customer service, in the call center industry. There is quite a lot of use cases that we have seen. And this market is set to explode. And that's why you can see there's a lot of companies, a lot of AI startups, coming up. And primarily, they are driving this autonomous industry to the extreme that it's predicted that it may reach $28.5 billion by 2028. Now, some of the practical cases that AI agents could be used. Again, this is not a comprehensive list, but these are few ideas where people have started deploying AI agents. Now, one of the example is on the popular CRM, the HubSpot, where how the AI agents could be trained is they could be plugged into a specific database like ZoomInfo or DNB, where through those APIs, through the preset target zones like your ideal customer profiles, these agents could cull out the list of contacts that it needs to contact based on learning from your specific solution or product that you're trying to sell. And once this list is identified, it can automatically check the tech stack of those companies in case if you are selling a tech solution through built with API. And based on those connections, it can actually creating an email copy. Again, this might look like magic, but it's all about trying to connect various APIs. I mean, basically, this AI agent is trying to make these different company APIs talk to each other, gather insights, and then using its LLM power, it can actually create personalized email copy. And just like when I told about AI agents methodology of using memory and planning to do the A/B tests, it can actually create email sequences and do the A/B testing and rewriting the copy at scale in a way that it can try to get or predict what are the mails that are getting a lot of traction, and based on that it can double down on those copies as well. So this is just a simple concept of how an AI agent could be deployed, which is fully trained, which can actually make a solid use case for the marketer. Another example of AI agent is the use case of Google Ads, where it can first analyze the website and start creating instant ads, which are primarily focused on the user behavior on the site. And also it could analyze the target products, the services, and match it with the target keywords. And based on your spend patterns and based on your previous history of poor performing ad groups, it could do the automated bid adjustments based on the preset budget. And based on the prediction of how much sales you need realistically, based on that, it could start optimizing the campaigns automatically. And another use case, which is my favorite, is Figma, where the AI agent wants the output from a Figma. One of the common problems that the front end and the designers face is the amount of feedback that you get after a design is finalized and after you've converted to HTML. And then when a feedback comes from the client, it gets into a loop. However, AI agents, the beauty is that multiple AI agents can be combined together in a way that one output could be checked by another AI agent, which is fully trained on code level checks, including responsive design and stuff like that. And it'll be able to analyze the layout and get your, the design into a very user friendly and the more optimal HTML output. So these are some examples of the AI agent. Now, what we'll do next is we'll get into the core applications of AI, specifically around 7 major departments, starting from the content strategy, personalization, advertising, CRO. CRO is not chief revenue officer, it's conversion rate optimization, but yeah, both of them could be linked, social media, email, and customer retention. So I'll hand over the mic to Jim to take care of the content strategy.
Yeah, thank you, Senthil. So let's talk about your content strategy and how to use AI. You want to use AI as your content ally. And I think what we're seeing a lot now is people making AI their entire content strategy, just basically prompting the platform, getting output, and then just copy and pasting. And you can't do that if you want to use AI in a winning way. So some of the ways that you can use it are to identify gaps, analyze past content performance, automate some of your SEO processes, and you can even let AI assist your human writers. And we're actually doing multiple of these strategies right now on some of our bigger clients with the writing team. So you can do things like have AI look at old blogs that you want to repurpose, expand that content. You can have it generate content ideas, topic ideas. It can nail down specific tones. And it can also help with readability. Next, we'll talk about the content workflow. You can use content at several stages, use AI at several stages, excuse me. It can help with outlining. It can help with keyword researching. It can also help with once you finalize a first draft, but you need to make sure to leverage any human writers you have on staff to polish those pieces once you get to that first draft stage. AI Insights can also keep topics content or SEO friendly. It keeps the user experience at the forefront of your strategy and helps boost an individual content piece's performance. Brands aren't going to be able to get away with AI-only content. Again, like we touched on earlier, it might be trendy to just leave your content production to an AI platform alone, but ultimately it's going to hurt your marketing efforts. Google is already starting to penalize brands that are using AI to manipulate the SERPs, which basically means any brands that are trying to mass produce content with AI and just flood the search engine pages. You want to use a human touch wherever you can to improve performance. And you'll see in this example, right now we have a piece that has a 4.7 out of 10 in SEMrush's writer tool. And with the help of human assistance, that same excerpt has gone to a performance of 9.3 out of 10. So data, we talked about data in the beginning. Neil touched on how important data is becoming and how you can use AI to really supercharge those insights. We used a database tool to boost the online presence of one of our clients, Universal Technical Institute. We used ChatGPT and Google Sheets add-ons to look for campuses that were nearby based on population and distance to major cities. We worked together with UTI's internal team and used this data to optimize over 200 local-based web pages. This included things like, enhancing their video, schema markup, as well as copy edits. And the results of this campaign was a 411% increase year over year in organic searches for any new program expansion efforts, an 18% increase year over year in total organic searches, and 982 position one rankings for non-branded searches, which was a 20% increase year over year.
And what I want you guys to do with this UTI example here is, if you have a localized business, and it can work for even non-localized businesses, but what we did here specifically is if you have a campus in Los Angeles, California, to be very specific, there's a lot of surrounding neighborhoods and cities. With AI, we were able to do research on all of them around this campus, and then we were able to crank out content faster that had more data and insights around those campuses, and be able to make the local pages more thorough, so that way they rank better, and it actually drove quite a bit more traffic. Now we could have done this all by hand, but it would have just taken so much longer versus having ChatGPT help us. Now we didn't have ChatGPT write everything because the quality of the content that a lot of what ChatGPT produces isn't always the best without human intervention. But it does help speed up the process, especially if you use it in the correct way. And in a business like this, you know that if you're a college, you're most likely going to get students who are close by your campuses versus people who have to move across the whole world, or across even a state, and then get a new apartment and get all this stuff and added expenses. So by focusing on what's most likely going to become your ideal quote unquote customers, you can then optimize for that and generate more revenue.
Cool. So the next thing is we'll be looking into how AI applications could be used in personalization. In fact, you might be already aware about the power of personalization, but first things first, it's not different from the way you deal B2B and B2C, because people tend to believe that these are all mostly for B2C, but B2B buyers are also consumers too, right? So, as per the data of Forbes, it's quite easy for consumers to trust a brand that gives them relevant offers. In fact, 91% of customers trust a brand when they provide relevant offers and recommendations. The next important thing is getting the first party data. Obviously, people are not that much willing to share data on every website. However, when a website or when a business is offering personalized experience, they tend to share their data with them. And this is the data from Accenture. And obviously, who don't like personalized experiences, like especially shopping? So one of the core thing that happens when you are doing a personalization approach in your website, we can already see a lot of people in the comments asking about this question. The core thing is it reduces your acquisition cost, obviously, because the conversions go up. People tend to get great experience from your website. So the targeted messaging, where that helps increase the engagement, and it also helps you get better email open rates if you're deploying this personalization in the email campaigns. And most importantly, it helps the brand to be closely connected with their customers. In this age of less attention span, it's quite important that which brand creates that kind of a relationship with them would be able to improve their customer retention, which is the thing that marketing and sales fight for. And of course, getting deeper insights into the customers, thereby your future campaigns could also work out beautifully, is where the personalization tends to get more and more traction for the brands. So how do we get this? The immediate mode that you can get in from the personalization point of view is the hyper personalization. Now, it all starts with the personalized content in middle, where you create a highly personalized content for each recipient. But not only creating the content, but also getting real-time insights, thereby based on the recent history of the particular user, the content could be tweaked about it, and more focused on adaptive messaging. Now, adaptive messaging is the key because the moment you are setting up a static email, which is just sending a bulk, with the first name and the company name and all, but the more you adapt the messaging based on the individual preference, it tends to give you a better outcome. And this is something which helps both from a B2B and B2C perspective, respectively. Here are a few examples of how we use personalized marketing, specifically around segmented campaigns. Really beautiful. It helps you get a lot of traction in your ad campaigns when you're doing segmented approach. And also the personalized emails, which I was touching upon. As you can see here, an example of how Airbnb does it, where the recent places that you visit, it tends to give you, they tend to send you a personalized email. It creates a bit of a personalized touch and also improves the confidence of the users on the platform. And the third thing is on the dynamic websites and also the behavior based recommendations. These are sites that automatically change based on a user location. In fact, I think Neil has deployed it in the site as well, where if you log in from from Mumbai or from San Francisco, from anywhere, it just changes automatically and shows a customized content on the site. These are dynamic ways where you can improve the personalization to your customers. In
And
fact, there is
on some pages, Senthil, as you know, we even will put in the city that you're visiting from within your copy, and we've seen it boost conversions depending on how you use the copy. So like if I just put in my copy, hi Senthil, or hi, hope all is well in Mumbai, India, it doesn't work too well. But let's say I'm selling people on marketing services, which at NP Digital, our goal is to help companies grow their traffic. So if someone visits our website and we say, we're looking to help businesses in Mumbai, India, and that person's coming from Mumbai, India, and we switch up that city name to say Mumbai, India, or like we're looking to help a business in Mumbai, India grow their traffic. My only question is, will it be yours, right? Fill out your information to find out how we could potentially work together. We found that it boosts conversions quite a bit. So much so, a lot of these IP tracking and personalization technologies are not 100% perfect. So sometimes they'll be in a surrounding city. For example, if I live in Los Angeles, sometimes it'll say Orange County instead of Los Angeles because someone could be close to the border somewhere. And like, oh, I'm really close by, does this work for me as well? And we found that to actually produce quite a bit more conversions. You just got to use it in a less sleazy way than the example I just gave. But I'm just giving you like an extreme example to help you guys understand, what I mean by personalized. And you wouldn't want to say like, my only question is, will it be you, right? It's too, in my opinion, it's a little too aggressive.
Yeah, and especially for returning visitors, right, Neil, if they have submitted a form and they come back to the website to download, maybe to read something else, then when you personalize, it becomes a bit of a personal touch. They feel like you're speaking to them in the blog, like, so it creates a great experience to the user. Cool. And here's an example of how personalization is put into action. This is an example of Fitbot. So what they tend to do is, based on your sleep patterns, based on various activities that you do on the app, they tend to send these personalized coaching tips. In fact, one of the other app which you may also recall is Duolingo, where, in fact, my daughter takes those classes, Spanish classes, and whenever she doesn't do it, I used to get those notifications, and those notifications are super good. The copy that is there, it's all, we can sense that it's AI written because the way that they interact, they track the thing. But sometimes it may look a bit intrusive, but most of the time it's super good. It actually helps you staying motivated. And especially for gym goers, it needs to be there, the motivation levels. So I think they have done a fantastic job. If you guys have some time, maybe you can check out that app and see how you can probably use it. Now we're done with content strategy and personalization. We'll quickly jump on to advertising. I think a lot of folks would be quite interested in it. I'll hand over to Jim for that.
Thanks, Senthil. So using AI to optimize your campaign performance for paid advertising. So we're talking about Google ads, Facebook ads. Ad optimization can improve your return on ad spend. You can use real-time data to predict which ads or audience or even creative is going to work the best in your campaigns. You can focus on audience signals like your intent, your context, and behavior to ensure that ads appear at the right time. And you can even use it to do predictive analysis of things like ad placements and bids. You can also use generative AI to create multiple versions of ad creative, which really speeds up the process of A/B testing things. And you can, launch winning creative elements faster, test them, and improve campaign performance. This is a really cool example of how you can use multiple AI tools to generate content that is the same quality as the pros in a fraction of the time. So there was a myriad of tools used here: Midjourney for the image, Runway for the motion, MusicGen for sound. And all these tools were combined to create something that you would see on TV created by, a big box agency, and it was all done in 15 minutes thanks to this list of tools. So much like writing, you want to use AI to enhance human creative, but not replace the human element. So the internal study that Neil referenced earlier, we created a bunch of ad creative that was, some was human, some was AI generated. And we found that the human generated creative outperformed the AI generated 68.3% of the time. And then we even took it a step further and dug deeper, and we took those human generated creative pieces that won, and we used AI to enhance them and tweak them, make them even a little bit better. And those AI enhanced that started with a human foundation won 75.7% of the time. Again, we come back to this concept of data. It's such an important way to use AI to bring data insights to support your marketing efforts. You can use performance data to test what's working and what isn't. You can use the speed of the digital environment and the information that AI can give you to reduce the feedback cycle. You can get feedback faster, take action faster, and ultimately optimize the performance of your campaigns. You can also focus on digital conversion optimization, and that will test personalization of certain elements in real time. You can split test different images, videos, calls to action, or really any element of your campaign that you'd like to hone in on. Without text overlays, you can add text overlays. Really, it's up to you. And the tests and results launch quickly, enabling you to gather more information. And then to sum it all up, machine learning will tie it all together and help you save money on your ad spend by predicting which of your test campaigns might be your best performers.
Great. We'll now move to CRO, the conversion rate optimization. So the primary thing is the user experience. I mean, creating these advanced audience targeting. This is something which we just discussed, where Neil explained about how do we customize the website based on the target audience segments, and also showing the dynamic content, like the example which he mentioned about the city, and and a bit more exciting copy about a specific city, so that people could understand, and they will feel a bit more a better experience being offered to them from the website. Now, one of the things that actually helps for the brands is that you can do it at scale. Now, it's not only in case this particular example of city has worked well for Neil, but it's not that it works every time. So where this actually helps is creating those variations and seeing, in case if super personalization is being done, but then if the bounce rate is too much, then you don't want to provide that kind of an optimization as well. So the beauty about using AI is that it doesn't just rely on certain metrics. It looks at the holistic view in terms of whether we are giving a better experience to the users, and based on which variation gives the better experience in terms of the engagement rate within the page, it may opt to provide that variation a bit more scale, and that gets shown to a lot of people. And there will be two more crucial aspects of how do we improve the CRO. One of the things that we're seeing now is the AI powered forms, where people, while they're filling the form, they tend to make some typos in that mail, and there may be certain other things which could be automated and give it as a quick error detection from AI, so that people could fill the forms and they could expect a good response or a fast response from the sales team. And the other thing, which I think you might have heard this a lot.
One
Yes.
quick thing on the forms is, if you're requesting city-based data and from their IP where they are, you can pre-fill in the city and you can let them change it. Or when they're typing in their address, you can use, not all of this is AI, but just in general, when someone's typing in their address, you can use an API from one of the maps companies and autofill the rest, so that way they don't have to type it in, right? So little things like this just will increase your form completion rate, whether you're using AI or not. So just keep that in mind. Also, what we found is if you show too many people too many fields, they are not going to fill them out. But on the flip side, If you show them a few fields and as they complete them, you show them more, or you create a multi-step, it tends to work better.
Yeah. And now it's about chatbots, which a lot of you would have tried this a lot in your e-commerce and other website journey. Using the chatbots, we are seeing quite a bit of traction, especially for e-commerce sites, where it helps with real-time engagement, especially with cart recovery, where people, when they come back to the website, where the bot could trigger that, hey, here's something which you left off in the cart. Would you like to continue with it, or any other cross-sell opportunities, and any lead gen opportunities if it's a B2B and stuff. So yeah, providing these, the automated, the AI powered forms, AI powered chatbots, we have seen that's quite a bit of an improvement in the conversion rates, on the sites. Now, quickly jumping on to social media, which is the primary department which tends to use AI a lot. Yeah, Jim, I'll let you handle this.
Perfect. So AI and social media are a match made in heaven. Social platforms are the top channels for marketing products or services, and I'm sure everyone can agree with this based on what we see on TikTok ads and what your Facebook and Instagram feeds look like. There's definitely a lot of brands that are using social channels as advertising channels. So and actually, experts are predicting the market cap on these social channels to grow to 7.25 billion by the year 2029. So this trend isn't going anywhere. Some of the main ways that you can use AI in social, there's a lot here, but just to touch on a few of them, you can optimize your social campaigns. You can use chatbots like Senthil was just talking about to help with engagement and keep customers on the hook, so to speak. You can segment your audience and deliver personalized ads or posts to them, depending on what stage of your funnel they're at. You can automate your social posting and scheduling, and you can even streamline your content creation and curation using Gen AI. Chatbots can also power your sales on social. Facebook Messenger currently has over 300,000 chatbots in use across different brands. E-commerce stores that leverage Messenger for engagement or to bring back customers to abandoned carts and have them finish abandoned carts, they increase their revenue from 7 to 25%. And Messenger conversations between brands and customers are generating a 30% better ROI than retargeting campaigns, which have been popular for a long time. So we're actually seeing AI chatbots take over the first position there. So this is a case study of a beauty brand I'm sure we've all heard of, Fenty. Their team used an AI chatbot to provide shoppers with a quiz to choose the best shade of two of their most recent products, Pro Fitter and Eavesdrop makeup cosmetics. So, and they also created a TikTok shade filter to see how these customers, the customers could see how their favorite colors looked on their skin using the filters on the TikTok camera. And these two AI supports to the campaign help the brand identify buying trends within their target demographic that led to increases in revenue. Finally, AI has even been keeping us healthy through social media. The technology was used to predict the spread of COVID-19, create early warning systems, and provide info about areas that may be more sensitive to the virus as it was happening. It even helped make illness and mortality predictions that helped save lives.
Cool. We'll get into email marketing now, which is Neil's favorite. So the era of segmentation to one, that is something which is the core when it comes to personalizing the email campaigns. In fact, one of the core ideas here is that the usage of dynamic content and also ethical balance, which I think we were trying to briefly touch upon in our previous slides, where addressing the privacy concerns and avoiding those filter bubbles. In fact, these days, some of the mails sent to Gmail and all, it's getting marked in the gray box. You might have seen that. But yeah, that's where the usage of dynamic content and real-time analysis as well as personalized delivery becomes quite important, because the amount of email spam these days are quite high. In fact, I was briefly touching upon the AI agent, which could plug in the data and it could start sending customized mails. But it's quite important to understand what business we are in and then trying to connect it with the customer with the right inputs. And that's where the, again, touching upon the personalization bit in these email campaigns as well. So there are certain ways that we could use AI. One of the core thing is to analyze the campaigns behavior over the last probably 4-5 set and trying to identify which ones are getting a lot of open rates. And obviously you want to send it at the right time. And it's not just about getting the message into the inbox, but how do we ensure it gets opened and read? And that's where, using some of these prompts which you could try, and by loading in your previous data, and it could show what kind of timelines which you could start sending your mails. And one of the other core areas is that we already discussed is the power of AI to use predictive analysis, right? So how do we deploy that, or how do we use it in email campaigns? It all starts with the right data that you have, collecting, analyzing the customer data, and then most importantly, creating the segments. You don't want the same message to be reached for, let's say, a person interested in SEO may not be that interested in maybe a paid marketing or something like that. So how do we segment that audience through that list and ensuring that targeted campaigns are sent? And these targeted campaigns, when you're setting it up, how do we personalize those contents along with offers so that it becomes like a bit more measurable and more impactful as a campaign experience? So we are not trying to say, just use AI everywhere, but if you notice here, on certain areas you could deploy AI where it makes the best use for you to predict how this campaign is going to perform based on how good your data is on hand. And this is an example of from Smart Insights where how the triggered emails workflow could help, where if this is specifically for a B2B, maybe you can take this webinar also for an example. If you notice the mails that you might have received from Neil, and also how the webinar is being conducted, post the webinar, how the mails are being sent to you. In case if you didn't get time to catch up to this webinar, you may be getting the recording of it. So how do we ensure that these kind of B2B scenarios are treated well? And this is the areas where AI can be put into best shape, because the right people gets the right messaging at the right time. And this also helps with A/B testing. So one of the scenarios for getting the right forecasts is to do A/B tests, right? So the more tests are being made, the better will be your outcome and the better will be your campaign performance. So elements to test like subject lines, the length of the mails, the formats being used, whether it's a HTML mail or a simple text format mail, and also most importantly, the copy that sets you apart. I think these are all the areas where AI could be put into test, and based on the success of the campaign, the winning mail could be sent to the whole list rather than sending the same mail to your entire audience. The next part is the customer retention, which I'll hand over to Jim again.
So there's an old saying in marketing that it's a lot cheaper to retain a current customer than to acquire new ones. And AI can actually help you improve your customer retention. If we move to the next slide. So you can improve your customer service interactions using AI. There is no time limit on your support. You can provide someone for customers to contact 24/7. You can offer responses tailored to each customer based on AI technology, AI output. You can even have AI evaluate conversations across channels, identify trends that help reduce training for both, reducing agent and customer churn by improving the process. And AI can also spot trends in each individual conversation and suggest chat improvements. AI platforms can also analyze your customer data and help save sales. The algorithms can identify at-risk customers and intercept them early to salvage their experience and keep them in your pipeline. The platforms are trained on historical data, and they can measure users with a churn risk score to to predict the risk of them leaving in the future.
And the way I want you to think about that image there is, in the past, the way most people looked at churn is, if someone did X, Y, and Z, they're likely to stick around as a customer. If they didn't, they're more likely to churn. But every person is really different. And what companies would do in the past say, okay, we need to push people down this path. We need to get them to use these features. We need to get them to take this journey and they're more likely to stick around. We need to get them to invite more of their team members to use the app, right? And specifically with AI, instead of just looking at a generalization, it can take your customers and number them, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way from most likely to stay to most likely to churn. And they can tell you for each of the customers what you got to do specifically for the individual customer to keep them around, so then that way you can improve your retention. The same goes with B2C. Here's what people need to do to more likely to continually come back and buy more of the product over time. And then you can specifically get insights on what you need to do for each and every single customer to get them to become more of a repeat customer. And this goes back into tailoring the emails in a customized way, right? This is what I would consider more of the ugly side of AI. And I'm talking about ugly in a good way, because people want to focus on the sexy, like, look at this beautiful creative. That's all fine and dandy. But some of this uglier stuff, like data and analytics, is what really moves the needle on the revenue side.
Yeah, and we see in this slide how Hydrant used AI to focus on the ugly and improve the performance of and actually get a hold of some of their churn. So they use predictive modeling, and Hydrant is a wellness company, and they use predictive modeling to analyze the churn in their customer base. So using AI, within 2 weeks, they had pinpointed the challenge they were seeing in their customer churn. And basically what it was kind of what Neil just alluded to, a lack of like personalization and segmentation to their email marketing campaigns and their email flow. So what the AI models helped them do was figure out which customers were most likely to churn, the ones that were highly likely to make repeat purchases, the ones that, for their particular company, they offered subscription services. So AI also helped them see which buyers might switch from a one-time purchase to like a subscription-based model. And then it also helped them identify former customers who are likely to purchase again. So with all this data, Hydrant was able to develop specific campaigns for each one of these aforementioned customer profiles and, design creative emails, ads, and all that based on what their future behavior might be. And it resulted in a 260% increase in their conversion rates and a 310% rise in revenue per customer. So it goes back to what we talked about at the beginning of this section. Rather than spend a lot of money acquiring new customers, they figured out a way to over triple the revenue of the customers they already had in their database. So, and with that, we can bring it back to Neil to wrap things up.
So I love this quote from Sam Altman. I'm not going to read it, but what Sam is pretty much breaking down is when the internet first came out, people are like, we're an internet company. Now you don't hear that. You're just a company and everyone has a website. When iPhone came out and there was an app store, people were like, oh, we're going to create a mobile company. We're going to create an app. Now people just have businesses, but they also have apps. And the same goes with AI. A lot of people are like, I got an AI company. Look at all this cool AI stuff that we're doing. AI should just be integrated within your business. You're not an AI company. You should just be a business solving problems and be leveraging the technology. And we did an A/B test with a good group of marketers. And what we found is when people are leveraging AI within their copy, talking about how they're AI businesses and how they have all these AI features, a year plus ago, it really helped with conversions. Fast forward to today, it doesn't much at all because everyone says they're AI based and it's getting played out. You want to also integrate AI, not just into one aspect of your business. You want to integrate it throughout your whole business in different areas. Like when you look at marketing, from your platform data to your looking at marketing trends to your content, email, ads, creative, right? Even the customer experience. when you integrate it throughout your whole funnel, that's when you're going to start seeing better results. And there literally are tools that integrate with each other for, no joke, all areas of marketing. And when you're starting off, don't try to do everything with AI. I'm not saying you eventually can't get AI more involved in your marketing, but you want to start small. When you start big, you tend to waste a lot of time, resources, and you don't really see much of a traffic or a revenue lift. When you start small and you have a specific KPI in mind, which I think is on the next slide, and you focus on improving specific KPIs and having a clear ROI, and you're making it impact and then you're seeing it positively improve your bottom line, cool, then add more and more to it. But when you go too big and you're just randomly using AI for a lot of random things, sometimes you'll find that you actually are wasting more time than if you just did it by hand. Or what you'll find is you're not really saving any time and you're not really moving the needle. So it may seem cool, but if you're not really improving the main metrics that you're measured on within your organization as an employee or even as a business owner with whatever your goals may be, again, you're just wasting time. And it's not just about marketing. I know this presentation webinar was around marketing, but you need to collaborate with all departments, and all departments should be using AI because then it'll just make the workplace more efficient. Marketing can impact things like sales, design can impact marketing, customer success impacts marketing as well. They all need to work together. So just keep that in mind. You shouldn't be siloed. If you're looking for a roadmap to AI adoption, you can take a screenshot here. Hopefully this will give you some ideas. I know it's high level, but it is a roadmap. It's hard to get very specific because every business is different, but hopefully this will give you some ideas on places and areas you can adapt it. And if you need help with adapting AI within your marketing, or you just want my team to do everything for you, you can scan the QR code right there, or you can just go to npdigital.com. And we also have a up and coming webinar, and the next one is on putting the AI in retail, how to delight your customers and drive massive sales this holiday season. And you'll get great insights from this, whether you're B2B or B2C. And if you want to register, just scan that QR code and you can be off into your way. All right, let's dive into some questions, Colin.
Hey, great stuff, everyone. First and foremost, Jim, you're in the path of Milton. I'm wondering if the dog maybe senses the storm coming. There were several comments and questions about wanting to meet your dog. So when and if possible, maybe share a video feed of the dog. Question for you, Neil.
Go for it. What, on a side note, Jim, is your dog small or big?
Small, like 40 something pounds.
That's not small. I was about to say if it was really tiny, like bring it on. You can put it on camera, but 40 something pounds is heavy.
She wanted to get on for sure.
Put her on cam when we're getting through questions.
All right, go for it.
Yeah, so Neil, several for you. Please share, all caps. How do you write obviously this is related and specific to AI. How do you write blogs that feel as if you're talking directly to us? Any tips and tricks? We talked about a lot of awesome tools. Anything you can provide the audience? There were several folks that were asking that same question.
Sure. So I tend to just use me or humans to create content versus having AI write a lot of it. I'll use AI to do research. When I'm writing basic stuff like nutrition facts about banana or something that's really basic that's been done, a million or jagillion times, sure, you can end up using AI. But what I like to do when I'm using AI for content creation is I have the AI read articles that are written by me or anyone's voice or tonality or style I want to copy, give it a few articles, and then tell it, read those articles. I now want to write X, Y, and Z, but I want it to be written in the same tonality, style as the previous articles that you read. And then that way it can start writing more like your writing style, and it can start having a more conversational tone versus being more robotic.
That answers another question, I think. What about giving data in a quick and dirty text written and then ask for specific corrections such as tone and focus? So that's what AI is all about, right?
That works out too. Just be careful though, because a lot of times we'll be like, please, write an article similar to the style of Neil Patel. I've tried that too. The problem that you face is, and I know that wasn't the exact question, but yes, you can modify dry content, have it create something that is more smoother, more well written. But you can't just say write an article like Neil Patel. And the reason I give you that is there's a lot of Neil Patels. For example, some people think I'm the Neil Patel that was ex-business partners with Tucker Carlson, writing political content. My background has nothing to do with politics. There's also, I think, someone who wanted to be a senator who had the same name as me. So just because someone has a name, you can't just say copy the writing style of Tony Robbins or Neil Patel or Seth Godin. There's a lot of people that may have a similar name that can confuse the AI.
Yeah, Senthil, this one I don't know if you can answer or not, but this was a good question. Does AI pull actual keywords from other keyword research tools via API, or is AI just hallucinating and creating its own set of keywords based on training and language models? Any thoughts there?
Sure, Colin. Yeah, I think with regards to certain LLMs like Claude, they do have their data until I think somewhere to March 2024, I guess. I mean, it's definitely not recommended to use the keywords that ChatGPT suggests. Rather, you could use the export. Nowadays, ChatGPT could, analyze the CSV files. Connecting the API with SEMrush, it's a great idea. I think the generative AI, the ChatGPT has the capability now. They are giving away the bots where people could build it one, where you could use an integrator like Zapier Central or stuff like that, and then connect it with SEMrush to collect the data and probably process it and then give you the data. I think it's all about the prompt that you create in that custom GPT and then probably use it. But just like that, using ChatGPT's keyword, it's definitely not recommended. It will definitely hallucinate because it has its own limitations.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. Jim, I think it was you that showed a content rating tool. There was a question, what was that content rating tool that you just showed? I don't know if that was Copyscape or what was that?
So that is the writer tool within SEMrush. It was that circle with the 4 different points, and it'll show you how your piece is performing in those 4 or 5 different categories, and it'll kind of like pull that colored circle in the middle towards which area you're doing best in, and then you can make your tweaks to make it more well-rounded.
Awesome. We're at the top of the hour. I think that's about all the time that we have. Thank you everyone for joining. We covered a lot. Hopefully you found it useful and valuable.
Awesome. See you guys next time. Thank you for your time. And if you guys need help with your marketing, check us out at npdigital.com. My name is Neil Patel, and I help companies generate more revenue through digital marketing. Entrepreneur Magazine said I was the #1 marketer in the world, and they also said I created one of the 100 most brilliant companies. I started my first website at the age of 16. I took all the money that I earned from working at an amusement park,